If we gave you a lightsaber in real life, you'd probably be missing a limb before the end of this sentence. Thankfully, you can get the same effect safely on your HyperX keyboard with these Ingenuity profiles. Find download links in the description below or watch along to make them for yourself. Green Wave. Ah, classic green. Surest sign of a good guy in any and all video games. For our first look, which represents Luke's personally crafted lightsaber, we'll be using Ingenuity's wave effect. Start by setting up a chunk of firm green in the middle of the color bar, sandwiched on either side by pure black. You can right-click to delete a color marker and left-click to create a new one. Next, adjust the angle to around 330 degrees. That should create a satisfying diagonal slice. We've set the speed to 80 for a reasonably fast chop, but feel free to adjust it to your liking. Lightsabers aren't a single tone though, their core is far brighter. To imitate this, let's set up a second wave effect which overlays the first. Again, create a chunk of green in the middle with matching angle and speed, but this time make it much brighter and roughly half the width of the first one. Now, because this is going over the top of the previous effect, you'll need to lower the opacity to make it see-through. We found dropping to around 37 was about right for green. Make sure this effect is above the previous one in Ingenuity's list. You might need to hide and unhide the effect by clicking this eye icon to ensure the animations sync up. If the positioning doesn't seem right, try adjusting the markers on your color bar until they're roughly central. Next, we've made use of the fade triggered effect to have the keys we press glow green briefly. For the final touch, we've also added a solid white to the WASD keys. Like the shine of a distant star in the pitch black of space, they'll guide your fingers to the appropriate place for each Skywalker Saga game session. Blue Wave. Green might have been Luke's later choice, but a strong blue is where the Skywalkers started off. To make this alternate design, all we need to do is duplicate the green preset with this button before adjusting the colors and brightness. Trade those greens out for a sky blue base, then shift the core to a much lighter color. We've also bumped up the opacity of that core chunk to 60. That should bring out the central beam much brighter. Make sure you also swap the fade triggered effect to glow blue instead of green. For a final twist, we've also shifted those WASD keys to Star Wars intro text yellow. Red Wave. Tempted by the dark side? So long as you promise not to pull an Anakin and start killing younglings, we might be able to help. Again, begin by duplicating the last preset. This time, however, we won't just be changing the colors. To represent opposition to the light, let's switch up the direction of those waves. Shift the angle of both to around 210 degrees so that you're cutting in from the right. Now, adjust those blues to sanguine reds. Again, the central core needs to be much brighter. We found an opacity of around 45 to fit our lighting. Last of all, don't forget to flip that triggered effect to red. Now that is sinfully Sith. Static versions. If you find those animations a bit too distracting, a solid lightsaber might suit instead. For the static variants, we're going to make use of the same colors in a line across the keyboard. We've created 3 solid effects to mimic the brightness fading from the center of the beam. Start by covering the full keyboard in a solid layer of green. This will be the fading edge, so dim the opacity down heavily. We found around 20 to fit nicely. Now create another solid effect, this time along the rows with the shift and number keys. Make this one a bold green at full opacity. Finally, a third solid effect, highlighting the rows across from the caps lock and tab keys as the core. Start on a light green and punch up the brightness to bring it closer to white. With all 3 layers, your green lightsaber is complete. For the blue and red versions, all you need to do is duplicate the design and adjust the color wheels. We also bumped up the brightness of the core for both, and you should feel free to make adjustments to suit your keyboard and the room's lighting. LightSync, Gamelink, and onboard memory. Now that you've got your designs, make sure you're using Ingenuity to its fullest. LightSync means you can pair up other devices like the HyperX Pulsefire Matte and Pulsefire Surge to show a matching color for each preset. Gamelink will tie your favorite preset to the launch of LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Open the menu from the preset on the right and click the plus icon under the Gamelink header. You'll need to navigate to the game's launch folder to select its .exe file. Assign that to a preset and Ingenuity will switch over to it whenever you load the game. Alternatively, you can assign up to 3 presets to your keyboard's onboard memory via the Save to Keyboard button. With Ingenuity closed, you can then tap the preset buttons to shift seamlessly between your stored forms. After all, why limit yourself to just one lightsaber color? And listen, don't feel like you have to stick with the colors we've chosen. We know there are plenty of Mace Windu purple fans out there, maybe even a single lover of Plo Koon yellow. Feel free to experiment and have fun. We've already put together Elden Ring Ingenuity themes for you to try as well, but let us know what other games you'd like designs for in the comments below. And as always, may the Force be with you.